This episode of the Totally Rad Show is brought to you by Squarespace. Today on TRS, we discuss the latest news in another edition of the RAD Report.
Welcome to the Totally Rad Show for Monday, October 18th. We have a big week, very big week. Today we're going to be going back to the RAD Report, talk about some news as it is. Tuesday, we for the 24 hours of gaming that you're going to be seeing pieces of all throughout the week, Vectorform, right? I think it's a company?
Yeah.
Vectorform sent us, as Mike reads the packing slip, a Surface to play with.
Yeah,
so we're going to do
Surface.
We're going to unbox it in studio, play a little bit, and show you what the Surface is all about, which is going to be cool.
Hopefully it's solid.
Solid Surface? I could not be more excited about Wednesday. We are going to live out one of my absolute lifelong dreams.
Which has maybe become a nightmare.
We are stepping into the squared circle, and we're going to learn some wrestling, and we have these scars to prove it.
Yeah, that was an intense Lucha Libre experience there on Wednesday.
And then on Thursday, we're going to review a British comedy called Four Lions.
Yes, we will. Friday, we're going to round it all up with a little bit of verses. It's been a while, so we get to check back and see how much more we can change on that
list.
On our list.
Shame and list of pride.
As you mentioned briefly, we should reiterate that every day this week you're going to see a little bit of our 24 hours staying up.
We have yet to do that.
We haven't done it yet, but you hopefully hung out with us a little bit, and thank everybody that donated for Extra Life. We really, really appreciate it.
Yes, we made $100 million.
We should also mention
I'm just
the background. The background. We should.
Dude, I love this. I wish this was my avatar.
We should print these out or something and pin them on ourselves. I don't know what I'm saying.
I don't know what that means either.
Adam Limbert sent these, and he does these are called egos. He makes them for all kinds of famous people and or fictional characters. And
I love it.
We're a little of both, I think.
I agree. Let's get in the show, shall we?
Let's do it.
So today in the RAD Report, we're going to talk about some news that has happened over the past few weeks, some juicy tidbits that we are going to have a chance to gab about right now.
Gabba gabba hey.
So in TV, they are rebooting the old show from the 60s, Wild Wild West. And the man who's doing it is the man responsible for reigniting science fiction in the past few years. It's Ronald D. Moore, who is the man responsible for Battlestar Galactica.
Okay.
The reboot.
Right.
Yeah.
So Wild Wild West was
He's an old Star Trek writer as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Cool. I didn't know that. I was pretending to know that.
Isn't Wild Wild West sort of that steampunk kind of thing?
That is the movie.
Oh, that was just
this.
the movie?
Wasn't there a dance?
So Wild Wild West, a Western in the 60s that focused on Secret Service agents, spies. So it was sort of a James Bond Western hybrid.
Right.
The movie, directed by Barry Sonnenfeld in the late 90s, or 2099, I believe it came out in the year 1999, was, because I remember where I was when I saw it, was the more steampunk science fiction merging in the West.
Which, by the way, are we going to get that?
That's
if the guy from BSG is going to do it?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he's the science fiction. He also did Bionic Woman, and it's sort of like.
Oh yeah, that's not science fiction at all.
No, but it wasn't like lasers and things. So it's not.
No, it's just a woman who had.
You're right. We don't know
animatronics in her.
You're right that we don't know what we're gonna get, but Ronald D. Moore's name attached to this doesn't mean to me that it's gonna become science fiction. It means to me that it's gonna take something that could be silly and take it seriously and make it interesting.
Well said. I agree with you.
I think what's exciting.
I think he extracts the cheese.
Well, no, it's true, and puts it away.
Extracting cheese.
Because at the end of the day, Battlestar Galactica could very well have been. I mean, when we see all these remakes, like I think immediately when I think of cheesy remakes as Starsky and Hutch, which is making fun of the 70s-ness of the original show, rather than trying to do a true blue retelling of in the current time. Sort of like what happened with Battlestar Galactica, you know what I mean?
Right.
Which may have been what the Wild Wild West.
Or several years in the future, but yes.
Yeah, but
I gotta say though, the one genre that is really underrepresented is steampunk. a really
There's a
honest
series. It's actually kind of cool. It was a web series that they're now bringing to science fiction. But you're right.
Sci-fi.com.
You're right.
I would love to see a really gritty, honest Battlestar Galactica-esque take on steampunk. That would be amazing.
Very valid. But I also will say that just the idea of James Bond gadget stuff in the West is cool. It doesn't have to be steampunky. But everything everyone said is awesome.
What Western show? Are there any Western shows right now currently on the air?
No, we had
Justify is not.
Justified
but it was
is kind of.
Kind of, but
no, but there's a lot of modern day westerns.
Yeah. Well, that one's pretty.
The show I
literally
think Deadwood was the last probably.
Deadwood, yeah, which was a great first season and then went, in my opinion.
So also very interesting, Munsters being rebooted by Brian Fuller, who did Pushing Daisies on TV.
Wow.
Brian Fuller of Pushing Daisies and Guillermo del Toro, and they say they want it to be a combination of Modern Family and True Blood.
Wow. Weird.
So sort of a messagey single camera sitcom type deal that is funny but also has heart, I would assume, is what he's saying. Like, it's going to have monsters, it's going to be a supernatural element,
What do you mean by
and it's going to be
messagey?
funny, but it's not going to be like multiple. Like, I just mean True Blood's like about something. It's not just like.
No, I thought you were saying Modern Family is about something. I mean,
That's why I was like,
Modern
messagey.
Family at the end is sort of, it's about something real. You almost learn a lesson about
It's
what's
not just a
important in
sitcom
life.
with a joke a minute.
Exactly.
Although there are jokes.
Here's what I would like to see out of this show. The Pushing Daisies is still one of my favorite shows ever. And what I loved about it is that it took place in this whimsical, non-real,
fantasy world.
very stylized fantasy
Right.
world.
Yeah.
And I think if the Munsters does that, it could
would
work.
have to.
Well, it doesn't have to.
Okay, how else could that go?
I think.
Well, it could be
correct me if I'm
monsters
wrong, but the
in-
original Munsters is kind of like the Addams Family, where it's like, oh, these weirdos live down the street,
Yeah,
and
it's like
everybody.
the Beverly Hillbillies, except they're monsters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
Like, well, there goes the neighborhood. He's the vampire.
I think that way might be.
I think
little
it
weird.
is, given the True Blood reference, I think it is like, okay, so monsters happen now in life.
Current
and
time,
there's a little bit of humor assigned to it, but it's also like happening.
I could be.
Interesting.
Brian
really-
Fuller is the thing that makes me excited about that.
Well,
So-
Guillermo del Toro is the thing that makes me excited about that.
Yeah.
But he
And-
sort of attaches his name to a lot of stuff.
We'll talk about The Walking Dead next week.
Yeah, we
but
will.
it's sounding like we're getting some horror-oriented shows, like we have been getting science fiction resurgence.
Yeah.
So in movies, very interesting movie news. Seth MacFarlane, creator and star and writer of Family Guy, is directing
And
a movie.
12 other shows.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is directing a movie called Teddy Bear, which they are talking to Mark Wahlberg to star in. And I think Mark Wahlberg would probably be the leading man, who is a 33-year-old dude whose teddy bear comes to life and poses problems for him as an adult when it gets in the way of his relationship and his.
They didn't just want to call this Teddy
And
Ruxpin the
and
movie?
Yeah, right.
And basically, I think MacFarlane would be doing the voice
What was that
of the
Fred
teddy bear.
movie? You remember that?
Drop Dead
Drop
Fred?
Dead Fred. It's
People
basically
love
the
that
exact
movie.
same thing.
Yeah. Sort of, yeah. I think it's going to be like.
It's sort of the imaginary friend that's like kind of an asshole.
I think it's as if Brian and
dog,
and
Stewie
and
grew up
Stewie
together.
were real in real
Roommates.
life. No, in real life.
Yeah.
You know, they're snarky, like really. There's a lot of vulgar. The article in Slash One went on to describe a lot more of the premise that was very vulgar and like a Jewish guy who's also an anti-Semite and a.
Oh yeah, so it's gonna be
that's
classic
Seth
sort of
MacFarlane.
Seth MacFarlane.
But
humor.
great. I think that's. You don't like Family Guy? You don't like?
I like Family Guy a lot.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
classic
not-
Seth MacFarlane
I'm
humor.
just not sold on Mark Wahlberg as a comedic leading man.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. He was very funny in Due Date, where it sort of played up on his not Due Date,
Yeah, that's not out yet.
the other guy?
Date Night.
Date night.
Where he
yeah,
played
Well, he
up
was
his
a-
persona.
Yeah, exactly.
And he was a small part of that movie, and he could be.
Yeah.
He didn't have to carry the
Yeah.
reality.
The humor
of what's
was
happening.
him trying to just be not humorous.
I agree. Video game? Any video game news?
Yeah, well, of course, the big news this last week was that Valve announced their next game, which is Dota 2, Defense of the Ancients. Big news for a lot of people who aren't us. I know that you guys aren't Dota fans. It's a very hardcore community. And
Was
it's
that the one that, did we review that?
we did a Dota-like game called
right.
Demigod.
Demigod, yeah. Yes.
But Dota is... Go ahead.
No, I researched it. So you should
Good.
explain what Dota is. Because
Well,
it's real time.
Yeah, it's sort of. I mean, we talked about it a lot when we talked about Demigod, but it started as a Warcraft mod, and it you know,
Warcraft 3 mod, not World of Warcraft.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's a real-time strategy game where you basically, it's like tower defense kind of, where you are in control of these giant hero characters that have all these abilities, and you have to take certain towers down, and fighting waves of enemies that keep coming at you. The interesting thing about this is, and the thing why I wanted to bring it up and pose it to you guys, is that they're introducing a coaching mode. So here is a genre that is very, and a
like
community.
John Madden's Dota?
Kind of.
You can like hit the button and he's like, well, if I was in this situation, I'd have my hero go down the center.
But
Just with a British accent, but yeah, that's
no,
Man,
but
this
another
situation.
human being does that.
Oh.
So here's what happened.
Oh.
This is a very intense community
That
that
sounds like it could be
is
getting
not
very snarky.
welcoming to newcomers. It's a community that is very difficult to break into, and people are very good at this game. So I think it's an effort for them to try to open it up to new players. And what they're going to do is they're going to incentivize logging on as a coach, and you have to be of a certain ranking, and you get paired up with a lower ranked character, and then you are able to watch what happens on their screen without being able to directly interact with it, and you get a closed audio channel with them. Now, obviously there's a potential for this to be just,
dude, what the fuck are you doing?
insult central.
Yeah.
But what do you guys think of this coaching idea?
If that works, I adore it. Adore it. I feel like
If it doesn't,
whenever
I
they-
disdain
people
it.
attempt things like this, it tend to not work. In fact, you have to anytime you have to like organize a time where two people really do connect and spend time, like even like self-help, not self-help, customer service. That's like an IM or whatever, where you're really connecting to people, but it's virtually. And it tends to be a lot of hiccups with that. But Valve's a pretty good developer, and you know their online Steam is really pretty well integrated with games and things like that. So
is this something
I would love it. I would love it. I would
it.
totally do it if it worked.
Yeah, because I don't know that stuff. And the funny thing is, because Dan and I have been playing Global Agenda a lot, and it's really interesting when it's really hard to get information through the realm of just asshole snarkiness. Like there's so much, you can't ask a question in Global Agenda and get an actual response. You just get, you know, and even in the forums,
a lot of games like that.
But so it's really great that they're going, well, if we compare two people up and incentivize this person to really just help this person, that could be a good situation.
Not only that, but in playing games like Global Agenda or Civilization or things that are sort of difficult to understand immediately, and there's not information about it. There's no instruction manual, or if it is, it's very dense, whatever. I've always wanted someone to just tell me what, in a very casual, like, Jeff, just tell me what I need to do. What am I supposed to do as this
That's
class?
pretty much every time we play with you.
Yeah, like, just help me, like, I just want to know what I need to do, and then I'll do it. But I just need to be told what really is the thing, because the game doesn't give me that.
The tooltip isn't explaining what is actually happening.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's great.
That could be cool.
It could be, and it's going to be interesting to see exactly the details of how they bring those incentives into the game because that's the real key, is like, will I, if I'm a high-level player, want to get on and just do that with my night?
Right.
You know?
Well, we'll find out.
Good point.
All right, everybody, we want to thank our sponsor, Squarespace.com. You've heard us talk about Squarespace. If you have any reason to have any website anywhere on the interwebs,
and everybody does,
you should be using Squarespace.com for your hosting. They have the best WYSIWYG editor I have ever seen. Some of the highest traffic sites on the web currently right now are hosted and created over at Squarespace.com. It's amazing. Their packages start as low as like $8.99 a month or $8 something a month. I mean, crazy cheap. Not only that, if you use the coupon code TRS when you check out, you get 10% off the entire lifetime of your site. So every month that bill comes in, 10% off because of Squarespace.
And because of us, really.
And because of us, really.
Stick around after this. You're going to see a little bit of our 24-hour gaming marathon for charity.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, indeed.
Coming up on tomorrow's show, we get down and dirty on the Microsoft Surface.